All right, so we have notes 5.7, elimination, to flip or not to flip. So just like yesterday, you're going to line it up so the like terms are in the same columns. If they're not, then just be careful. The sign in front of the number follows the number. Now, for number 2, this is how you actually eliminate. So for one of the variables, you're going to check, so that means either for x or for y, if it first has the same coefficient, the same number in front. If not, then you're going to multiply the entire equation to make it match. And it also has to have opposite signs. If not, then you multiply by -1 to one equation. So you need these two things in order to eliminate. Okay, you have to have those two things. You have to have the same number and opposite signs in front of one of the letters. Then for number 3, you're going to add the equation. See how I changed this? So please make sure you change it on your end too. At minimum, one variable must cancel. Okay, if both cancel, that means you're going to either have a no solution or infinitely many. But definitely one needs to cancel. Then you're going to solve for the letter that's left, which means all you should be doing is dividing, unless you're honors. And then you're going to replace the number you get in 4 into an original equation and get the other letter's number, which sounds crazy, but actually makes sense when you think about it. So here we go. Here's my checklist. So let's start going through our checklist. So looking at our equation here, is everything lined up? So we got x's lined up, y's lined up, equal signs lined up, and straight up numbers lined up. So everything's lined up. Then we're going to check for one of the variables, these two things. Does one of the letters have the same coefficient? Yes, right? Our x's here have the same coefficient. That's good. But, they do not have opposite signs, right? They're both positive 7x. So in order to change that, so what we need to do is multiply -1 to one of the equations. You guys ready for this? This is the best. It does not matter if you choose to multiply that -1 to the top equation or to the bottom equation. But I have this weird preference, and I don't know why I have this, okay? So I'm just saying, I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by a -1. Whole thing, not some of it, not part of it, all of it. -1 times 7x, -7x. -1 times -9y, plus 9y. -1 can't be multiplied to an equal sign, so you just bring that down. But -1 times -9, positive 9. So what happened when I multiplied this equation is all of the signs just ended up flipping, okay? This 7 became a -7. This -9 became a positive 9. This -9 became a positive 9. That's what -1 does. Hence the title, Elimination, to flip or not to flip. Hey-o. Okay, so we've changed the first equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the other equation just to make everything line up so I don't make any silly sign mistakes. Okay, all I did was brought it down. All right, so now I can do my rest of my checklist. So now we have done that. So we can eliminate something, right? Because now we have 2 check marks. So we can eliminate. Who can we eliminate? Well, we can eliminate those 7s. Elimination is like you're taking them out, right? We're like math assassins. We're the greatest. So we've done that. Now we can add our equations. Let's do it. X's are eliminated. They no longer exist. So now we have 17y equal sign. 9 plus 8 is 17. Divide that 17 away on both sides. This leaves us with y equals 1. All right, so our solution so far we have is 1. Because remember, solutions need to be in x comma y. We just found y. Hey-o. But now we need to figure out x. So of my original 2 equations, the one that has the least amount of negatives is probably the one I want to use, which is the first one here. So I'm just going to rewrite this guy. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this guy, and, well, I already did it. But I'm stuck here. I got to remember that, hey, I already know y is 1 from earlier, right? We did stuff to figure that out. We know that. So that we figured out is going to go here. Wasn't that crazy? I hope you were paying attention. Let's do some math. So we have 7x plus 8, 1 times 1 equals 8. Math, 8 times 1 here is a plus 8. This gives us 7x. Enjoy the sound effects. Subtract 8 on both sides. This leaves us with 7x equals 0. Side note, because this has happened and I don't want to see this happening to you, this is not a no solution. Why? We still have a letter. That letter is x. Okay? So this means we can divide that -7 away. And in case you weren't sure, 0 divided by -7 is 0. So x's number here is 0. All right? So that is not a no solution. It still has a letter. But if you do some type of math, and I'm just going to make a little side note here. If you end up with something like 0y equals 7, okay? This 0, this means 0 times y. 0 times any number is 0, no matter what. I don't care if there's a letter. 0 times anything is 0. So that would be a no solution. Okay, so just be careful. Know this. But there's a 7 here in the one that we have. So that is not a no solution. There was a 7 attached to the x. Not a 0, but a 7. Okay? If you got this, good. If not, stop by my room and double check with me. I will make sure you know it. All right. So, is it lined up? Let's see. X's, Y's, equal signs, numbers. Everybody's lined up. We're good. Now, for one of our variables, do we have the same coefficient? Yes, it looks like here we have the same coefficient for our y's. So, yay. But we don't seem to have opposite signs for these y's. So, once again, we're going to multiply a -1 to one equation. Okay? And again, I like to multiply the bottom. That's just how I roll. So, multiply this bottom equation by -1. -1 times 3x, -3x. -1 times 6y, -6y. Equal sign can't be multiplied to a negative, so just bring it down. -1 times -9, a 9. Next, we're going to bring down the top equation because, we don't want to make any silly mistakes. Nothing changes about it, okay? So don't change anything. We're just copying and pasting. We're like computers here. Now, checklist. Now we have opposite signs. So this means we can eliminate. So let's assassinate those y's. We took them out. Do some math. Okay? Remember, we are adding the equations. That's what it says here. Add the equations. -3x plus a -2x is a -5x. Can't add equal signs, so just bring it down. 9 plus 16 is a 25. Hey, now we can just divide that -5 on both sides so that we get x is equal to a -5. So we have our first number, which is also our first number in our ordered pair. Hey, that was funny. Let's bring down one of our equations, okay? We want to bring the one down that seems like it's going to be the easiest for us. I'm going to bring down this first one. Does it matter which one you bring down? No, it does not. But we are just going to rewrite this. Now, we've rewritten it. We know x is -5. So here we go. We got 2 times -5 plus 6y equals 16. -2 times -5 is a 10, so we got 10 plus 6y equals 16. Subtract that 10 on both sides. This leaves us with 6y equals 6. Divide away the 6 on both sides. This leaves us with y equals 1. Hey, this is why we spent so much time solving equations. And now we know our answer, -5, 1. Next. All right, here we go. Now let's check. Is everything lined up? Let's look. X's and Y's? Okay, not lined up. Not lined up. So that means we need to fix something. So I'm going to fix the bottom one because I like my letters to be in alphabetical order because I'm just a nerd like that. So I'm going to underline this guy, write my Amazon happy face here to tell me, hey, I'm going to flip these around. Now, nothing changes about them. They're not going to a different side of the equal sign, so their signs aren't going to change. So we got 3x plus 4y equals 13. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down my guy here. We got 3x minus y equals negative 22. Miss Rawolf, negative 22. Okay. All right, so everything's now lined up. This is great. Let's see. We have the same coefficient, right? Our x's here have the same number up front, but hold up, wait a minute. Ugh, darn it all. We don't have opposite signs for those x's. So what we need to do is we're going to multiply by negative 1. Now, in this case, because I don't want to rewrite stuff, I'm going to multiply this guy by a negative 1. So, negative 1 times 3x, negative 3x. Now, see how it's lining up with the black here? So I don't have to rewrite the black again. This is great. Negative 1 times 4y is a negative 4y. Negative 1 times 13 is a negative 13. Don't forget your equal sign. Now, did I have to do this twice? Yes. Okay, so we changed this guy, so we're not going to use him, okay? We're going to use the black and blue here. Haha, black and blue. So we have opposite signs, which means we can eliminate and move on to adding our equations here. So let's look at this. We can eliminate x's. They have been assassinated in math class. Now, we add everything else. Negative y plus a negative 4y. Remember, negative y is like a negative 1. So this is like saying negative 5y equals, add negative 22 plus a negative 13 is a negative 35. Divide negative 5 on both sides. So we're left with y equals 7. So that's the first part of our solution. Y is equal to 7. Now I gotta figure out an original equation to use. I'm gonna use this one because it's got all these positives and I like positives. I'd rather work with positives than negatives. So we got 4y plus 3x equals 13. We know that y is 7. So we got 4 times 7 plus 3x. Miss Rawolf, I was about to write a y. Did you guys see that? Equals 13. 4 times 7 is 28. So we have 28 plus 3x equals 13. Boop. Subtract 28 away from both sides. This leaves us with 3x equals negative 15. Divide away that 3 on both sides, and we're left with x equals negative 5. So that means our final answer is negative 5, 7. All right, in the next problem, Miss Rawolf, because it happens every class, she made a boo-boo. This needs to say a negative 6x. Okay, please change that. Please change that. Please change that. All right, so here we go. Now that we fixed the boo-boo, is everything lined up? Let's check. X's and Y's? No. So let's fix it. Underline these two because I like to make them go in alphabetical order, which means we're going to rewrite this as 6x plus 7y equals 13. Bring down my boo-boo problem and make sure I rewrite it with my corrections on the boo-boo here. Equals 13. Okay. First, check same number. Yes, we do. Our x's, our x's and our y's have the same number up front. Okay, check for opposite signs. We have that. But again, x's and y's have opposite numbers and same coefficients. Miss Rawolf didn't copy this correctly. Did you guys check that? Did you guys see that? This is supposed to be a -20. Miss Rawolf, you only bad because I don't have good copy skills. Okay, so that means we can get rid of both of these guys. But if we get rid of both of them and there's nothing left, that's 0. Bring down the equal sign. 13 plus a -20, -7. Excuse me. Hold on, wait a minute. All our letters canceled. And we're left with this, which is not true. Right? 0 ain't going to be equaling no -7. So this is one of those cases where we have no solution. Okay? So just be careful with that. Now again, if you actually add 6x and a -6x and you write 0x plus 0y equals -7, again, remember, these are being like multiplied to those letters. So really, 0 times anything with 0 plus 0 equals -7, which gives you 0 still equals -7. Okay? So just be careful about that. This is important to understand in case you do your math with your calculator and write 0x. Okay? 0 times x is going to be a 0. It don't matter if that x is 100 million or if it's 2. All right, next guy. So, is everything lined up? X's, Y's, and numbers and equal signs. Don't forget the equal signs need to line up too. So we're good. All right, do we have the same coefficient? Yes, look at that. We have X's and we have Y's with the same coefficient. Ooh. But no. We don't have opposite signs. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply one of the equations by -1. I'll multiply this guy this time, just to make life just hunky-dory. So this gives us a -2x. -1 times 3y is a -3y. -1 times -22 gives us a +22. All right, so now we're going to use this black and blue equation. We know that this can be eliminated. But hold up, wait a minute. This guy can also be eliminated because we have same number, opposite sign, so we get zeros. Equal sign doesn't change. -22 plus 22, that's a 0 as well. It looks like a little happy face. So again, all letters cancel. But this time we're left with something true. And if we're left with something true and all letters cancel, this means we're going to have infinite solutions. Isn't that just purty? It's lovely. All right, everyone, that's the end of this video. Don't forget to turn it in and don't forget to do your notes.